I'm Scott, and this is episode 14 of What Makes This Map Great. This is the series where we take a deep dive into some classic games that hold a special place in my gaming heart. We're going to explore their amazing level design, beautiful art, creative combat encounters, as well as uncover their hidden secrets and see just how much they've influenced the gaming world. And in this episode, we're covering Quake, E3M1, Termination Central. All sources used for this video will be linked down in the description below. Like, sub, do all the YouTube stuff. It is greatly appreciated. Let's get into it. Termination Central is the first level of episode 3, the Netherworld for Quake. And once again, we are treated by the one and only, the icon of sin himself, John Romero. This level has lots of buttons. That's the name of the game for this level. You'll have to press buttons in specific orders, and it'll require you to backtrack at times in order to proceed forward in the map. There's also a large slime reservoir, which runs and extends under most of the main rooms throughout the map. It's actually quite amazing to see what areas are visible or connected while wading through the acid, so long as you don't mind the sting. And of course, it wouldn't be a base map without the usual cast of enemies. You can expect grunts, Rottweilers, and enforcers. I should also mention that this is the last map we're going to see designed by John Romero, at least for the Quake series. We'll miss you, man, but I'm sure our paths will cross again soon. To give some context to the player experience in Quake up to this point, it all started at the Slipgate complex, a military base that is home to a machine capable of dimensional travel known as the Slipgate. An evil entity codenamed Quake sends its own forces through from the other side, defeating and turning all soldiers into mindless grunts. Ranger, the lone marine played by you, fights their way through with a mission to defeat this evil force and put an end to Quake. You step through the Slipgate and enter the dimension of the doomed, a realm that is home to old haunted castles and dark underground caverns with monsters beyond our understanding. After conquering every obstacle, Ranger defeats Cathan, the realm's guardian, and obtains the rune of Earth Magic. He discovers that a rune of magical power awaits him at the conclusion of each of Quake's haunted lands. Ranger then proceeds to the realm of black magic, where his fight continues through dark, decaying castles, crypts, and mansions. Nothing can stop him. He destroys the Vorse sisters and acquires the rune of black magic. The rune whispers dark thoughts into your brain and reveals that the Hellmother Shub-Niggurath is behind all of this. You also learn that once armed with all 4 runes, the gate to Shub-Niggurath's pit will open, and you can face the witch goddess herself in her frightful otherworld cathedral. Ranger continues his mission and proceeds to Termination Central in search of the next slipgate, which will take him to the Netherworld. Let's not waste any more time, let's dive right in. Ranger arrives at a location a little closer to home, a military base. Its Miltech walls are a somewhat welcoming sight compared to the cold, dark castles and crypts we've had to endure up to this point. Though it is dark, blood marks a wall, and a light flashes ahead. Shub's forces have invaded this base, and it sounds like all the Marines have been turned into mindless grunts. The mood is already starting strong. Excellent way to open up this map. Conveniently, someone left a double-barreled shotgun here. It's time to get to work. We press the button and the elevator lowers. A pair of grunts patrol here, as well as an enforcer supporting them from range down the hall. The double barrel does its job. I'd like to point out this transition from the tighter starting room above, descending down the elevator into a long and open hall, is a great design tool. In some cases, it can create a sense of relief and freedom, but in others, it can make the player feel unsettled by its vastness, maybe even feel a lack of purpose until they explore and find their footing. It's a proper liminal space to hook us in. Geometry is also on point here. This window gives a glimpse at a secret, hinting at how layered this map really is. We've also got many angles introduced throughout to break any straight lines, creating a visually interesting space. And continuing through, Romero continues that design idea, presenting odd angles as opposed to boring 90-degree corners. It's dark, and more grunts can be heard ahead. Let's break this section down. We're given two options. Going left, we proceed down a ramp leading down a long hall. At the end, a nail gun awaits while a Rottweiler hides in the corner. A grunt patrols with an access bridge above, which also has an enforcer on patrol. Going right, we have another ramp leading down to an enforcer and a grunt. Both seem to be guarding a button, and we even get a sneak peek of a big fight encounter ahead of this barrier. I should say it now, buttons are the main theme of this map. So let's go right and push the button. First, armor up. As we come around this corner, we activate an invisible trigger that makes this grunt up ahead aggro without seeing us. Going right, the double barrel makes quick work of the enforcer and the grunt. We press the button. Watch out for stray shots coming from the left here. Let's backtrack and go left this time. Grunt down, grab the nail gun, and take out the Rottweiler. Nails down the enforcer around the corner. And we have another button. But before we do, there's a secret nearby. We go back just around the corner here on the left. You'll notice the texturing patterning is off. Hit the wall with your axe to save ammo, and you're rewarded with red armor. Let's go over the next combat encounter before we press the button. This button press will lower the barrier to our left, as well as the barrier by the prior button. And remember all of these baddies we alerted when pressing the first button? They are going to be angry, hunting you down around this corner. Thankfully, we have these conveniently placed radiation barrels in the center of the room. Thanks, John. I think I understand the assignment here. Beyond that, though, we have all sorts of depth and elevation throughout this space. Directly above the radiation barrels is a whole other level with grunts, a peek of things to come. And just straight ahead, a series of stairs leading up 3 floors to yellow armor. The sightline from the initial button we pressed down here is quite amazing, not just to amaze the player, but to provide these perched enemies a view of you when you turn the corner for the first time. We even get a peek of an acid pool below, hinting there is a network of tunnels below all of this. Nails, double barrel, your main priority is to hit those radiation barrels, blow them up, finish off any stragglers, and utilize the single barrel shotgun to tighten your spread and get those perched grunts above. Now, exploring this dark corner under the ramp is worth it for the shotgun ammo. But don't bother with diving into the acid on the next floor up. You'll discover access for 2 areas. The small corner with the shotgun shells we just picked up, and then a lift that takes you all the way back to the start of the map with some health pickups. For the amount of damage you take from the acid, it's just not worth it. Though, I'll give credit for designing this entire area underneath the base. And it does serve as more of an escape should you accidentally fall in. Okay, so from the radiation barrel room, we go up the stairs. Yellow armor in case you need it. I like this non-orthogonal entrance. Great way to frame the way forward. Up ahead, we have a short hallway that leads us to the next impressive room of the map. Many enemies guard the way. I think it creates a nice rhythm of combat. A trigger activates a bridge to form, giving us access to the way forward. This area appears to be underground, with its earth-like walls and ceilings. Even the sound of insects fills the space. The central platform is massive. Giant supports hold it above a large acid reservoir. The central column creates interesting support beams above, holding light lamps on the ends of them to illuminate the space. A button on the opposite side just asking to be pressed. Also, the use of textures, going from the cream browns to the more orangish brown panels, helps differentiate the rooms of this base. And yes, can't forget the obvious. A quad damage awaits us. So, we'll make the most of it. Order of operations, blast your way through. Grab the quad, blast some more, press the button, and rush down the hall to clear as many enemies as you can. Up this elevator, more enemies to the right lead us that way. Still quadded, we clear the path and find ourselves a gold key card door. We backtrack a little, and we find the gold key card just on the other side of the lift, as well as another quad damage below it. But hold on, we left a couple secrets behind. Let's return to the room where we got the quad. As we go up these steps, look immediately to the edge next to the exploding barrels. There's a ledge below. Drop down and you'll find some supplies. The lift will take you up above the supports, where you can walk across and grab some shotgun ammo. There's another secret here too. It's not very obvious, just a subtle clue. If you look down into the acid below, one area appears to be brighter than the others. It's the side facing the button. Jump down from here, and you'll find an opening in the wall. Swim through, and you find a secret with some supplies. Such a cool space. Love the way this archway frames the teleporter up ahead. And this is a multi-staged secret. We take the teleporter and find ourselves on a narrow catwalk with a solo grunt and blue armor. Below is more deadly acid, but we also spot a mega health. We caught a glimpse of this at the start of the map. Drop down carefully and follow the path through the teleporters forward. We find ourselves back at the start of the map. Okay, backtrack. But I just gotta say that this secret is so creative. We took quite a detour through some of the nooks and crannies of this place. So notice that instead of going right at this split hallway, we went left. That's because we were given access to a lift here on the ground. I'm pretty sure this happens when you go through the long hall bridge leading up to the gold keycard lift. There's an invisible trigger around there that reveals this lift. We take it up and we're back at the lift leading to the gold keycard. Now, that quad below the keycard is a secret, but we're going to save it because we have another secret we should grab first. Back across the lift, we enter this space with what appears to be a computer room of sorts. You'll find a brown-colored computer block. Hop up and continue hopping up until you get to the very top of this structure. There are 2 walls you have access to from here. One of them seems to have a break in its texturing pattern. Hit it with your axe, and you found a secret. Go through this narrow hall, up the lift, and your reward is a mega health. Upon dropping down from this ledge, we find ourselves at the upper balcony of that radiation barrel room where we had the Jibsplosion party. And we loop back around to the gold key card, grab it, and then onto the final secret. So this quad damage has a small catwalk that we can access. Drop down to the bridge, and you should see a small ledge tucked in this back corner. Line it up. You should make it by just running across, and you found the secret. We're going to use this quad to its fullest for this final combat encounter. We'll run through a long, narrow hallway full of grunts and a Rottweiler. Toward the end of it, we will activate triggers that seal the way back shut. Only one way to go. Pressing forward, it opens up to a computer room. It's dark and foreboding. It looks like it's supposed to be secret, with plenty of grunts guarding the way. They definitely didn't want us to find the slipgate to the Netherworld. These computer towers chirp in a sort of cute way, but within their shadows hide grunts and enforcers. Okay, we're ready. Let's grab the quad and do this. Personally, I love using the double barrel while quadded up. Let's save those nails for another day. This little jump on the left is a fun way to avoid this upcoming ambush. And the final room. Walls open up to reveal 2 enforcers. Quad makes all of this quick work. I love this final room. We have some cool mill-based tech textures, pipes overhead layered amongst circuit boards. This slipgate must require lots of power to operate and probably generates a ton of waste, hence all the acid reservoirs in this place. We found the slipgate, hidden deep within Termination Central. The slipgate hums, beckoning us to step through. Score screen here, showing off that wonderful secret room we found through the acid. We proceed and find ourselves in the vaults of Zin. Rusted metal surrounds us. The first proper map for the Netherworld. One we'll be sure to cover in a future video. So here's the part where I go over some quick trivia regarding our featured map. Admittedly, there wasn't a whole lot I could find in my research, but we have a couple. This map was referred as JR Base 4 during development. This might hint that it may have been the 4th base map that John Romero worked on during the development of Quake. There's a really cool skip in this map that only skilled speedrunners can really do. I gave it a shot and I could not get it. So I'm going to roll a clip of someone who's a little more skilled and talented than I am. One of the 3 radioactive containers in the large double ramp room can propel the player to the balcony with the gold key. This is quite a tricky speedrun trick, especially with all the grunts in the area shooting at you with hit-scanning weapons. Mistakes are bound to happen. If you want to watch it in its entirety, I will post a link down in the sources below the description of this video. So, what makes E3M1 Termination Central a great map? Well, it comes down to a wonderful combination of design choices. Romero uses height and orthogonal shapes to build spaces that actually look complex and cool. It's a great decision as opposed to using just boring 90-degree angles and straight hallways. He evokes a real feeling of how deep and huge this place is. Examples of that are like when you go down the first elevator at the start of the map, or when you walk into the multi-leveled room with the 3 radiation barrels at the bottom. You get this overwhelming sense of depth and height. The map is also brilliant at telling a story with its setting, reminding you that this military base has been invaded. It's done through moody lighting and subtle texture details. And while the action is intense, the map still feels dark and foreboding. But it's not just about the looks. It's also about rewarding exploration. All the buttons and barriers mean that you can't just run a straight line to the end. You have to backtrack, giving real purpose to every corner of the base. The one secret where you gotta dive into the acid pool and you step through the teleporter and you end up finding multiple secrets within it, that's sort of a detour through the map's most hidden corners and secrets. Little visual nudges constantly push the player to interact and pay attention to the environment. It makes the hunt for secrets as satisfying as the reward itself. And lastly, the map also nails dynamic fights. Placing enemies at higher elevation levels is always a great design choice. Or even the explosive barrels, they turn regular shootouts into these multi-layered challenges that you won't forget. I also think that there's a great flow in the combat throughout the map. You get little breaks in between each encounter, but I find especially when you get the quad damage and are firing away using the double-barreled shotgun, the final quad run through the gold key door leading up to the slipgate is a proper finale that is intense and drives you to the end. It gets you pumped up to step through the slipgate and see what this new episode has to offer. Romero's skill in creating moody, detailed spaces, interconnected areas with interesting secrets, as well as fun, dynamic combat encounters. These are keystones that can be used by any map designer or even an up-and-coming mapper. We still see echoes of these lessons in modern games. And that's what makes John Romero's maps so inspiring to this day. What are your thoughts on E3M1 Termination Central for Quake? How excited were you to jump in the acid in search of secrets? I'll tell you, I was not. And also, do you like to save the quad for the gold key door? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, share it with friends, and subscribe for more great gaming content. And if you're looking for more, check out this recommended video right here. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.